Hey there, my name's Pavi Proczko, and I'll be answering a few questions. Well, I think voice acting and audiobook narrating in particular are all of my favorite parts about acting, without any of my less favorite parts about acting. So I get to play all of the characters, I don't have to memorize anything, and I don't have to put on a costume or any makeup. It's the best. What is one fun fact about yourself that you'd like your fans to know? I love classical music. A lot. Beethoven's my man. I love Brahms. I haven't quite gotten past the 1870s as far as pop music goes, so I've got a huge cultural blind spot there. But I love it so much that I learned how to write it. So now I actually have written some piano sonatas and symphonies and some web series soundtracks, and for my Dungeons & Dragons games that I run, I have a soundtrack that I've written out. I've even started studying how to sing opera, so maybe someday you'll see me out on the lyric opera stage of Chicago, calling out an aria. Not likely, but it is something that I really love to do. Maybe I'll put up a video of me singing an aria sometime. Tell us about your Dungeons & Dragons character and current campaign. Usually, I'm actually the dungeon master for my Dungeons & Dragons games. At the height of the pandemic, we were doing everything over Zoom, as everyone else was, and happy hour got very boring, so I started recruiting people into Dungeons & Dragons games. At the height, I had 11 campaigns going. I was only playing in 2 of them. The other 9 I was running, which, of course, is a lot of work. But that was also the only social thing I was doing, so I was happy to do it. My current character that I'm playing in the Storm King's Thunder campaign, which is one of the published 5th edition campaigns about giants and stuff, the character's name is Brugham, and he's a satyr. But I decided I wanted a complex character with a painful past, because who doesn't love a redemption story? And so I had him raised by minotaurs and not really understanding why he was so different from his family. So he grew up in the middle of the labyrinth, and then when some kindly, scholarly dwarf finds him and basically lets him know, hey, you're not actually a minotaur, you're a satyr, he decides to go off into the world to find his family. Of course, he joins up with unlikely heroes, and now they're fighting a bunch of giants, but I thought that was a really fun story, because he's kind of like a Greek wrestler type. So he mostly uses his hands and grappling to fight off enemies. I've actually written a short story about Brugham, and I'm producing it now to have it on my website as a narration sample. So keep a lookout for that. What is your D&D moral alignment, IRL? Ooh, this is a hard one. I think that I'm always kind of going for balance, ideologically speaking, so I think I'd go true neutral in the end. For the lawful versus chaotic, I am mostly a rule follower, but I kind of think rules need to be taken case by case too. Whereas I'm not too keen on anarchy. I do value, the structure of society. Whereas the good versus evil, like, of course, we want to be doing good for the people around us, but I'm kind of a selfish person. So I tend to think about myself first so that I can properly take care of the people around me. Not everyone has that strategy, but that certainly is the way that my mind works. So true neutral, that's the answer. What is your favorite childhood memory? Ooh, I used to go camping every summer. It was a scout camp. I was a member of Plast, which is the Ukrainian scouting organization. Mostly it's the diaspora of Ukraine. Now, of course, Ukraine, since 1991, has been independent, so they were able to finally host their own scouting organization after the fall of the Soviet Union. But my parents and their parents were members of different scouting organizations. My mother's side of the family was part of Plast, so I would do these scouting camps where we would be in the woods for 3 weeks, and I had cousins and friends that were all there, and we'd all be speaking Ukrainian and wearing our dark green uniforms and roughing it out in the forest. And it's some of my fondest childhood memories. I did it for a decade or longer until I was able to be a counselor for other kids, and it was a really good time. I loved it. What piece of advice would you give your younger self? Don't take yourself so seriously, because you are funny. That's it. But seriously, I was kind of a serious kid. I liked to pretend and stuff, but when things didn't go my way, it didn't work out, and I would take a lot of things personally. Of course, I still have trouble with that. I'm sure a lot of us do, but I think my life really turned around when I realized how silly I was, and didn't need to keep trying to take myself so seriously, to be seen as a serious person. Because if you put the work in and you get good at the things that you want to be good at, people will take you seriously, and you don't have to do anything about that. It is going to happen, and all taking yourself less seriously is going to do is going to allow you to laugh at yourself, and allow other people to laugh with you, because we're all kind of idiots sometimes, so why take it so seriously? Is there any character you've voiced that you feel particularly represented by? Yeah, I think Drew or Teach from Dao of Magic, the series, a Cultivation series that I did for Podium. I really liked him. He's a little arrogant, very intellectual, and kind of trying to break the mold a little bit. And as much as he pretends not to care about the things going on around him, he's got all these kids that he's trying to teach how to cultivate, and he's empowering them. And his cynicism is a defense mechanism against kind of the outside world getting into his soft insides, and I just really like him. I think he's funny, and his flaws are really interesting, and ultimately he's looking to make this world that he's fallen into a better place, better than how he found it, and I really just identify with him, flaws and all. Who would you pick to narrate your autobiography? I don't know, someone fancy, like Anthony Hopkins or Ralph Fiennes. Oh, Patrick Stewart, that would be fun. My life's not that interesting, so I'm trying to elevate it. I guess out of narrators that are mostly just narrators, my absolute favorite narrator is Pete Bradbury, and he did the Dagger and Coin series, and I just thought his performance is great. So I would be very happy to have Pete Bradbury narrate my autobiography. We'll see if I ever write one of those. What TV show, movie, book, or game just never gets old? Oh, 100% The Emperor's New Groove, the Disney movie. Oh my gosh, it is so good every single time. Just gold. The David Spade and John Goodman and Eartha Kitt. Oh my God. She is a national treasure. What a good film. If you haven't seen it in a while, do yourselves a favor. It is comedy gold. It's so good. Oh man. What song always gets you out on the dance floor? I think I'd have to say Cheap Thrills by Sia. About 5 years ago, when I first started dating my now husband, that was on the radio, I'm sure. Not that I listen to the radio. Who does anymore? But it was playing at all the dance clubs, of course. So I remember going out dancing. We were on a date, and that song played. And it always reminds me of that. So when it plays, I try to find my husband, and we go dance. Yeah, I think it's great. When was the last time you laughed so hard you cried? Why? Oh, it was, I don't know, last week sometime. And it was something my husband said. He is very funny, and I think he was probably making fun of me. I did something stupid, I'm sure, or he's making an impression of me or something like that. But it happens kind of often. He just surprises me with what he says, and I'm just on the floor crying. Well, laughing, crying. Well, thanks, friends. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Take care.